Creative director Michael Staniszewski has expressly said that the team tried to make Bound in the most ungamey way possible, which can be seen as a bizarre thing to say, but on a close inspection on these sort of games, you can see what they mean. Some games are made to be an artistic experience as opposed to a traditional type of game we are all accustomed to seeing and playing. Games like Flower and Journey have told a story in an artsy way, using jaw-dropping visuals, emotionally charged and well-crafted music, with a blend of bizarre but exciting interactive mechanics, topped off with unique ways of narrative and story exposition. Notice how RPG-style progression is not the focus with games like Bound, Journey, and Flower. In Bound, the story and world is mainly expressed through dance, also accompanied by gripping electroacoustic music combined with classical ballet piano. The music constantly changes and matches the atmosphere and the mood of what is happening on the screen. You play a princess who can dance. Her dancing enables the character to protect, overcome, and extricate herself from the adversity and harmful things sprawled in the level. The choreography was spectacular and filled me up with uncontrollable delight, excitement, and admiration. The choreography was done by Mario Udod and Michael Adam Goral. The dancing is predominantly ballet mixed with contemporary dance. You even see dance incorporated into nearly everything your character does. During one of the levels, I was prompted to dance to get rid of something that was bound to me, and I realized that your character's routine changes with each level. In fact, I was making the character dance for over a minute, which happened to trigger a trophy which I had no idea about. I mean, just watch how stunning this game is during moments like these. I got carried away and kept doing it and enjoying the music. It really felt like a cinematic experience. Some people have complained about the camera, but I liked having total control over it, as I could put the camera in a place that would give me the best view of the world and the character. Oh, and there is a really detailed photo mode for the screenshot or photographer buffs among you, with way too many filters for me to comprehend, but trust me, it's pretty good if you like taking in-game photos and screenshots. Moving on. I would often try and experiment with the dancing, attempting to craft my own routine, but the game's dancing limitations come to light after a while. There is only one long routine per level. You can throw in a leap and ground move to the routine, but that is just about it, barring you using the L2 button in conjunction with the R2 to do the speedier swirl when moving. There are other moves you can do, but they do not form part of a dancing routine. I felt the devs could have done a better job at this, but to be fair to them, they did confirm that the idea to implement contemporary dance into the game was a decision made late into the project after it was suggested as a possibility when the creative director visited Santa Monica Studios. Fragments are also scattered across in each level. You can collect them in full if you want to complete mosaics at the end of each level for those completionists. Every level also has a hidden secret area you can look for. The main appeal of the levels are the fact that you are not bound to take one path. In fact, there are multiple ways you can get to the end depending on how clever you are. However, sometimes my sense of direction would be completely thrown off as I find myself playing the game upside down when experimenting with alternative routes. And for those of you that are clever, there are even shortcuts that can cut the level duration in half. The devs made clear an impressive stat regarding the multiple ways that you can complete a level. They have confirmed that the game can be completed in 120 different ways, which can also affect how the game looks, sounds, and behaves. Oh, and a word of warning, there is quite a lot the game does not tell you, as the devs wanted the player to figure it out among themselves, like the roll and jump move. This move is key to making most of the really long jumps in the game, but the game was tight-lipped about it, and I only found out after watching and hearing from it from an IGN interview with the devs. At the end of each level you see a flashback of a memory form in front of you. It was even said by the creative director that the Kuleshov effect kicks in when viewing these scenes, particularly when watching them again after completing levels in a different order. The Kuleshov effect means that your interpretation is affected or can potentially change when you see sequences of shots rather than just one isolated shot of something, which is what you do at the end of each level. You see sequences of a scene, and depending on the order that you choose to complete the levels, these sequences can affect your interpretation. In fact, you might end up interpreting things in a different way because of the different order of sequences or cutscenes you see by, picking different things or levels in different orders. Story-wise, you play a princess who's a humanoid existing in an imagined kingdom, tasked to prevent its demise from the monster. The kingdom and story is imagined by a real character who you also play and learn about in between the levels. The world was imagined by the woman in an attempt to understand herself, her life, and future direction. I will not say much about the story here as it will involve spoiling it to some degree, but I found the ending heartbreaking. But all I wanted to say on that point was that the story starts to get clearer as you go along. In terms of aesthetics, this game is visually stunning. The vivacity of the colours is superbly pleasing, and the vast sea of pulsating cubes underneath you gives this game a feeling of an immeasurable scale. The devs have even said that the design of the levels was mainly an accident. It was just quirks and anomalies they decided to keep and run with. The world has a minimalist and surreal look to it, and its look will most certainly keep you astonished. I would often stop and take in the scenery. However, once you beat the game, you only unlock speedrun mode, where you can replay the levels competing to get the fastest time. You can turn on ghost mode and shadow the person that has the fastest time should you struggle to find super fast routes. But after you beat it, the game does not have much to offer other than the challenge of getting all the collectibles and getting speedrun trophies. You can play the levels in a different order for the Kuleshov effect, but I found that to be very little reason to replay it. And in fact, the only reason I would replay it is just because the dancing element and the fact that the game just looks visually stunning. It's just pleasing to just run through and enjoy it for that reason alone. Trophies wise, this game does look like it's really difficult to plat. There's a trophy to complete the game in one session with edge guard turned off and for you to not fall off once. So to complete the game in one session without you falling off once and edge guard turned off. Yeah, I'm not going to have fun going for that one. But on that note, it's one thing that I really did like was that the game did not punish you for falling off the map over and over again. In actual fact, the penalty keeps on getting lower and lower the more you fall off in a short span of time. Once again, this game is not meant to be a traditional game where you get punished the same or if not more for every time you fail. You just pick up exactly from where you last were on the level, which was nice as it meant you can focus on the challenge and obstacle and enjoy the exposition of the game's story. Conclusion: the game is jaw-dropping, and its attempt to fuse the beauty of human movement and dance with video games is commendable. The music adds to the emotion and narrative exposition. At times I would get tingles when the music amplified what was going on in the screen. It complements the dance flawlessly. The game, however, is not strictly speaking a game. It is a memorable experience, but it is nothing more. There is no progression or a strong reason to replay other than the Kuleshov effect and trophies. The dancing was a little disappointing, but it always will be delightful to do, until you have played it for a super long time. After a while, the game can get a bit choresome, when you are having to hold down a button to get past some really annoying obstacles, which you can only get past by dancing through them. Despite being paraded as a game that has dance as a central feature, it did not feel like it was that key, as you can actually get by most of the game without having to do much of it. The game could have used more longer routines to really allow the player to admire, absorb, and interpret the story's exposition, especially so if we could not be that creative with the dance moves. On top of that, the game felt like it was relying way too much on the end of level cutscenes, which were inaudible and were made in a way so that you rely on interpretation rather than straightforward telling, which is fine, but the cutscenes felt underwhelming and lacked a bit of oomph. The ending was also abrupt, and I did not like how it ended. It would have been interesting to see how each option would have unfolded, but whatever, I guess you can't please everyone. But to wrap it up, if you like arty experiences and want a game that will allow you to escape into a magnificent world with a fresh perspective on games, then you need to have this in your library. I do commend the creators for being very original here and making a really stunning game, being the small-sized indie studio that they are. But I did expect more on a project that took them at least 4 years to make. When looking at some of the artistic decisions made by the dev team, it felt like they purposely stuck with certain decisions to just cut corners as opposed to actually do something unique, artsy or well crafted. But on a final note, if you are looking for a game that transcends traditional games, then this is for you. Final verdict, 7. Very good.